Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to wear a giant porcupine costume and never take it off. It's Frank. How are you today?
I am doing fine, except for the part where I keep turning into a 6'7" green version of myself. But you know, it was worth hanging out with my cousin.
I mean, at least you're hanging out with yourself. I think that's an important distinction. I just noticed that your background behind you, the lighting is green.
Yes.
And we're talking about She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Well done.
Amazing.
Well done. That's
amazing.
Some stuff that's just for me and to tell everybody. What are you going to
make it purple and green?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now it's purple and green.
That's beautiful. That's so good. Thank you. Oh, that's great. I love it. Anyway, Frank, we're here on Beer with Geeks to talk about beer and or other versions of alcohol and geeky stuff. Let's start off with. You stop changing the lights behind you. It's distracting. It's so distracting. That's a good color combo, though. Like, keep that. Yeah, it's nice. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking well, okay. I guess it's not technically a beer, but this is from Woodstock Inn Brewery. It is their autumn ale. So it is technically malt beverage with natural flavor added is what they call it. But
interesting.
It is a brown ale made with rich apple and cinnamon flavors. This seasonal delight was brewed specifically for the pumpkin intolerant. Now, I'm not pumpkin intolerant, but it is basically an apple and cinnamon ale for people who can't have pumpkin ales.
Wow.
And I bought a 4-pack or 6-pack of it, and it's actually been really nice. This is my last one, but I've been really, really enjoying it. It is 4.4% alcohol. I guess that's why it's considered malt beverage, because under 5.
Sure.
But yeah, it's quite nice. Woodstock Inn Brewery.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds amazing. Actually, I want that for myself, I think. Frank, I am drinking not the weirdest beverage I've ever had, but probably one of the most unique, I will say. Yesterday, I'm out walking in the neighborhood with my wife and child, and we hear, "Mary, Mary, Mary," and it's one of our neighbors running up to meet us. And he is a forager. And so, one of his hobbies is going into the wild to pick wild mushrooms to then cook and store and whatever else. And my wife told him about this spot that she knew that there were a lot of mushrooms. She's not a forager, but due to her job, she knows where to find them. And so he was like, "I got to repay you. It's like gold every time I go. I'm never going anywhere else until I die." That's it was amazing. So he's like, "Here's some mushrooms and a homemade bottle of wine."
Oh,
yeah, right. And I'm just like living it because I didn't help him at all. I don't know anything about this.
So you get all the benefits.
And so I had wild mushroom sandwich for dinner, which was amazing.
Ooh,
yeah, it was
nice.
It was so good. Hen of the Woods, I think it's called. It was delicious, unbelievably good. And a homemade Chianti, and from Bunchaguys, Wine Brewery, which is just he and his friends brewing some wine, and it's a little bit more of a rosé than a Chianti, but it's good. It's like I'm impressed. I mean, I can't do it at all, so he could have done anything, and I would have been impressed.
Sure. So it sounds like some fava beans would have really just made the whole thing really
Absolutely, it would have. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
for dinner.
Yes. Anyway, so the homemade Chianti from Bunchaguys, thanks Joe,
love it,
is great. Yeah, and I'm enjoying it. It's
that
classy.
Is so cool. That is the unique one. That is I mean, obviously I can't get that. So unique New York. So what we talked about She-Hulk way back when the trailer dropped. We talked about like our reactions to the trailer real quick. I think we talked, maybe it was Comic-Con. We talked about a bunch of things, and She-Hulk was part of it. And it was something that was only sort of on my radar, but I knew I was going to watch it once it hit Disney+. I don't have any real background with the character. I mean, other than just being aware of She-Hulk. Mm-hmm. Never picked up a comic. Never really had any real experience. This is my first true exposure to Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk. What was your exposure prior to the show?
A couple of things. I used to watch the Fantastic Four cartoon when I was a kid, and she was on that. That was really my first real exposure, which, she gets into, I want to say she gets into a car accident, but it's orchestrated by Dr. Doom. And was that the Fantastic Four cartoon? So no, she was in the Fantastic Four cartoon, which I definitely watched. But the origin of her, she was also in the Incredible Hulk cartoon, and I think that was my first real introduction to her. And she's like made through some machinations with sharing blood with Bruce, and it's that whole same thing.
Same
but
idea.
It was Dr. Doom initiated, I think, in some ways. And so, and I've actually always kind of been a fan since then. She's really fun. I like the mousy character versus like what's inside, and reconciling those two pieces of yourself, because that's how she really starts too. How Hulk, like, she kind of lets herself be loose in a different way than Bruce. Bruce is kind of like a werewolf, where it's like uncontrolled rage.
Yeah.
And she is she's better than that, right? Because it's all about suppressing it throughout just being a woman, and then for the way that life treats you, and then reshaping it as, but with, by herself. And that's what the show touches upon, obviously. But I think like even the cartoons, and that's always been a bit of her book. Not always. When she was first introduced, that really wasn't the book, but Savage She-Hulk. But yeah. And then I read, on and off, she's been in different books that I would read, Fantastic Four and things like that. But I was a big fan of Charles Soule's run on She-Hulk a couple of years ago. I think it ran for 12, 16 issues, something like that. And it was great. And it was the kind of the tone of the show. She's really always been a fourth wall breaking character. And I enjoy that about her. I'm glad that was brought into the show as well. So I just, I was more excited about this than you were. Because I like the character, maybe more than Hulk. I think I like She-Hulk more than the Hulk, who is like a character that exists in the Marvel universe for me.
It's hard to compare them, honestly. You can compare Smart Hulk with She-Hulk.
Sure.
But
yeah, you can. I mean, I mean, they do the same thing in different ways, and so you can compare them that way. But like, I just, it's kind of like comparing, like, I don't know, like Nightwing to Batman or something like that. Like, they're in the same family, but they are different characters with different motivations, and they share a somewhat unique, or like not a unique, a somewhat same origin story with parents gone before their time, so on and so on. But but then it really differs. It goes in a different direction. So, so anyway, I really liked the show. It was really what I wanted it to be, which was half an hour, like, Marvel comedy featuring She-Hulk. And because she's a fourth wall breaking character, she was irreverent, and I very much enjoy that because I think I like products that can make fun of themselves, especially like has it's like taken itself so seriously for so long. Not super serious. I mean, it's the MCU, but like it started pretty serious and like has devolved or evolved into something different. And I just like her just poking fun at everything, and that to me was the greatest thrill in watching the show.
Yeah, that really is the that's like the big thing that she brings, right? Like that's the big sort of identifying characteristic like of her character for me. Was that fourth wall breaking, and I love Tatiana Maslany in this role. Like I don't. Like I said, I haven't read She-Hulk, so I don't have a reference point for what the character normally is like.
She got it.
Loved.
Yeah, no, she got it. She was completely recognizable to me.
Nice.
Yeah, especially as She-Hulk, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've seen different interpretations of Jen Walters over over different courses, but she's definitely like that was She-Hulk in a way that, I don't know, in a way that Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. or something like that. He just really brought something and even like significantly boosted the character. Like that was a really memorable performance. And I really dug it.
I really dug her performance. I really dug her. I just found her so charming and so likable the whole way through.
Me too. Like, and it's definitely one of those like, you took off the glasses and now you're attractive kind of things, because like you look at Tatiana Maslany and you're like, she's an attractive lady who's got it together. She's funny. She's smart. She's got a good job. Like all these things. Like, so it's definitely one of those like, I don't know why nobody likes me Hollywood stories but it's okay. I don't know. I'm just kind of used to them, but
it's true. But you're absolutely right. Like it is that kind of a story. But they did like that was part of the story. Like honestly, right? Like she was the whole difficulty with dating. How like as Jen, she had a hard time getting a date, but then as She-Hulk, she had no problem getting a date, and how really the whole show was about her coming to terms with, like, like she said in the finale, like once she, things fell apart once she was learning how to live as both Jen and She-Hulk. And that's really what her story was about. It was about reconciling these two, like, sort of sides of herself.
Yeah.
And accepting both.
And I think it's actually really, it's really a 3-part journey for her, because it's reconciling who she is, like believing in herself as Jen Walters, believing in herself that she is also now She-Hulk, and what that comes with just in her personal life. But then that third tier of great power, great responsibility. Like, this is what you have to do now that you are like this. Because she gets the powers and is just very ready to not use them and to do nothing. Like, and that's pretty antithetical to just a general superhero story, right? That's like, you get the powers, you be a superhero. Like that's so I in a weird comparison, I'm in the middle of watching Battle of the Super Sons, the new DC animated movie that came out, which is really fun. Definitely watch. It's like, it's great super family content. Like, and it's really lovely. But like when Clark tells John, his son, that he's Superman, he's like, John, and he like has powers, what you learn, he has powers and all this stuff, and his first reaction is, what does this mean? I'm a superhero? Like, am I in the Justice League now? Can I meet Batman? Like, and it just like, it's like kind of the exact opposite of like, because it's the child reaction. So like, and Jen is the adult reaction to, I already got a lot going on, and like, she's in her mid-30s, and, you know what it's like to be in your mid-30s, where you're just like, I'm already tired, and I don't want to go out late at night, and I already put my pajamas on, and like that type of thinking, where all of a sudden going out is the grocery store. It's not the club or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's just and so you can empathize with that as somebody like who is the age that she is, where you're like, yeah, I get that. I don't know if I'd want to be a superhero either if I magically had Hulk powers one day.
Yeah. No, I totally got that.
Yeah.
Totally got that.
But pushing past that uncomfortability is, part of the show. And I like the kind of the lineup of stories and guests that get her to that place.
Yeah.
And I just I like it very much.
How did you feel about the plot of the season as it played out over the course of the season?
I think it's good. I mean, like, it really did focus on her being a lawyer a lot, mm-hmm. and it was really for having a lot of MCU characters, but people are always like, it's an Easter egg, or it gets like they all live in this universe. There's no longer Easter eggs or anything like that. They're just characters that exist.
Exactly.
Like in the story, we're past this point. I feel like we should be past this point now of talking about it like this. But once she stopped learning like this is how you use your Hulk power stuff, that is the stuff that I actually found the slowest. And maybe the most formulaic out of the rest of the story. And I liked that it was really like a workplace comedy more than anything. And that was the focus. And so by the time we got to the end where she's like, this is dumb. Like, this is the same exact thing that you've seen over and over and over and over again. Like, can't we do something different? I liked that because that's where my brain starts to turn off now. And I notice it not just in Marvel, but pretty much across everything, where I'm really interested in the character development and the behaviors and the said and unsaid politics of people. And then when it's smashy, I'm like, all right. Like, I know that's part of the genre and I don't mind it, but we've said for years that our favorite superhero stories are when they're just sitting around a table talking about stuff. And I think She-Hulk really delivered on a lot of that. And so when the action did come in, it felt like it had a purpose, like, because it was really narrative. It was narrative driven. Like, it was character to character. Like this needs to happen because of the progression Jen needs to take by the end of the episode. And that's why, again, I liked the end, because it was moving out of that direction. If it was just a big fight where she's like, I will claim my mantle as She-Hulk and whatever else. Like, she's already done that. We watched that with that episode with Daredevil and Leapfrog. So, like, that's actually her doing the thing that she was going to do in the finale. So to progress that even more forward was important. And I really liked the format. What about you?
I felt like the overall story of the season was a bit meandering at times.
Definitely could be. Sure.
I felt like it was 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they could have done it in 6 or 7, and maybe tightened it up a little bit. So while I was watching it week to week, I was not having a hard time following it, but I was sort of wondering, how does this connect with what I saw last week? It sometimes felt like it wasn't until the end of the season that I felt like, oh, okay, now I see how this stuff connected.
Sure.
But along the way, I was like, all right, I'm along for the ride, but I am sort of like not really seeing how some of these stories connect with others, and what is like the Abomination thing keeps coming back, and like what is this gonna, what's the payoff going to be?
Sure.
But it did have the payoff ultimately, so that's fine. In the end, it's fine. Mm-hmm. I think I would not have felt that way binging it. It was a product of watching it week to week.
Sure.
But on a binge, I don't think I would have felt that way at all. So it's not something inherently, like the plotting of it or the pacing of it was not inherently off. It was just a product of, if you watch it week to week, it is designed to be watched in a binge. I think it's more enjoyable that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the week to week of it. Like I was like sitting down on a Thursday night, prime time or whatever, like must see TV Thursday, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, which I can't remember. I think it was somewhere on Reddit, which definitely sounds like a 30 Rock joke, right? Like in its own way, but because the show is a joke in its own way, like She-Hulk is not a good name, it's so I like that there's ownership over the bad name too. And so I think it's the only way you can get away with a lot of it. Actually, a lot of the show is
very true.
Is by being irreverent to its own story.
Yes,
it's good.
Yeah, and they did that. They did that a lot. All the Titania stuff, like going to court over the name She-Hulk.
It was great. It was so good. What I liked about it is that Jennifer was like, are we really doing? Like, are we real? Like, is this?
I know.
Like, and I think her, like, are we really doing this? Is my like general mood now all the time, like slightly exasperated. Like, like there's important stuff to be done. Why are we wasting our time with all of this?
Yeah,
and that's just generally my outlook on life, kind of right now. So, like, I just really dug that because it just rang true for me as a person.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, that is a very relatable feeling, I think, for a lot of people right now. So it really, it landed at just the right time. And the show did so much self parody and I just watched the finale a few hours ago as we're recording this, so that's what's freshest in my mind. But like that whole very meta sequence where she like jumps into the Disney Plus interface
so good. And it was great.
And goes off to find Kevin, who turns out not to be Kevin Feige, but turns out to be a robot.
Which is great because, like, I don't know, we talk about the MCU being really formulaic, right?
Yeah.
And I just really like that because they're like, it's making fun of what is most likely the real algorithm and test marketing that how movies are made, and it's like down to the finest decimal place on what will try to please the most people and like all this stuff. And even Kevin, the eye thing, the robot, the artificial intelligence, whatever, is like, yes, it creates a near perfect product. Yes. Like near perfect, some are better than others.
Yeah.
Just knows in itself that some things are better than others. And what I think is really funny about the whole thing is that it's not mocking its She-Hulk's not mocking its fan base, but it's like, if you don't get the joke, you're actually part of the problem. And like almost creating a toxic environment in a community. And if you're not getting it and railing against the very fact that like you're just perpetuating it, so it's like a snake eating its own tail. Like, you're just not, like, they can only hammer it home so far. So like, check yourself at the door just a little bit. And I just like that because like things that are big IPs that are and big companies that are not afraid to like deride their own fan base, like that's pretty like, I don't know, kahuna-y. It's got some kahunas.
Yeah, no, it takes some nerve. It does, but it's poking gentle fun, right? Like, it's not like
it should be.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Right. It should be. It doesn't hate its fans. It doesn't resent its fans.
No, not all fans.
Exactly.
The ones that are like, she didn't even earn her power. She's a Mary Sue. Those fans, like, and I like that. Because
I loved that.
Yeah, there's no place for that behavior, and and
I love that they anticipated that would be the reaction.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
right. Because the entire time, like, this show has been since it launched, that has been the reception. That's been the conversation about it online. Has been the fanboys who are upset that I don't know. I'm not even trying to understand why, but they just are. And to the fact that they anticipated that would happen and built in the finale around it, built a whole arc around it. The main conflict of the season is brilliant. Like, they were very, very meta with this whole thing. And again, it's the kind of thing that I didn't really see when I was up close to it, but when I step back from it, now that the season is over, now I can see it and appreciate it for what it is. But it's like, I was seeing the puzzle pieces coming together, but I couldn't make out what the picture was until it was finished, and I stepped back, and I'm like, oh, that's what it's a picture of.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I have more appreciation for it now, seeing the full completed picture.
Let's jump to some other characters that we liked, disliked.
There were so many good ones.
I think Nikki was great and stole every scene that she was in.
Totally stole every scene she was in.
Yeah, and I liked that the sidekick best friend character gets her own spotlight, her own value and importance, where she's actually got herself together in some ways more than the main character. And I just really like the ownership she has over herself, and I liked when she's doing the divorce case for the immortal man, and that was and like
that was her like shining moment.
Yeah, it was wonderful. That and like the tailor, when going to the tailor, and I'll take some Movil, material, like t-shirts or whatever. There's some really fun. There was really fun stuff with her and the pug, Prometheus from Arrow, which was just a wild turn. Good for that guy. What an actor.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Really.
I loved that very much. Did you have a special, consistent cast member, I should say, not special guest?
Sure. Wong was great in
I would consider him but he was not a recurring cast member. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Okay, well, Renee Elise Goldsberry was
great.
Was great in this. Already mentioned Titania, Jamila Jamil. Charlie Cox was, I guess, more of a guest, but he was.
Yeah, I would say Wong, and let's leave Wong and Charlie Cox to the side for a bit, because they were maybe from other things. That was
sure,
an Abomination, technically, Emil Blonsky, but he was more of a cast member in this case.
Yeah,
he kept
was
coming back too.
He was.
Who was great. I liked that turn for him. I like character.
Yeah, I was surprised and pleased that we got that much of Tim Roth.
Me too. He looked like he was having fun, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
more than anything. And I like the meta, even some of the meta commentary, like when Bruce is like you can represent him. Don't even worry about it. I was literally a different person.
Yeah,
that's some wonderful stuff.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked everybody. Truly, I think apart from Nikki, the MVP for me was her dad, who just had me laughing so much. Like when the final episode, when he's like, back, like, I don't care if there's a drought. I got water pressure for days.
Yes.
He killed me. It was just, her parents were just the best.
They were pretty great.
They were great.
Her parents were pretty great.
Yeah. Yes. Well, let's talk about some Marvel characters. So we obviously, Wong and Daredevil, make appearances, important part in Chen's life. I'm really gone into the microphone very unprofessionally. I'm not changing it. Don't care. Wong and Daredevil. What was Wong's best friend's name? Wongster.
Yeah, I don't remember what her name was.
I'm gonna use my one look up. She was just great.
Yeah, she did. I thought she would come back more.
I don't think they expected her to take off the way that the internet loved her.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. She had Madison with two N's. Yeah. That's right. I just think that the episode was real fun, and it's just like I like Wong as the straight man because Benedict Wong is so funny. He's really
so
funny.
Good in that role, and like his whole like TV obsession, like binging The Sopranos, binging like all the stuff that he's. Man, I love that as a characteristic for him. Like that is just it's such a fun juxtaposition with everything else that we know about him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Sorcerer Supreme, just binge watching peak TV.
This is the one where so and so dies. So he's got some. He's like, okay, we'll get some frozen yogurt. Like, yeah, it's just so good. Just some really wonderful stuff, and I like that. Like, so every phase in Marvel has a character that kind of recurs over and over again. Like Coulson was in phase 1, and so on. And Wong is phase 4, and I just like. I don't know if I ever would have gotten to that point where I thought Benedict Wong would even want to, or that's the kind where they would go with a side character like Wong. But they really made him something important and lovable, and I think I think it's great.
Agreed.
Yeah, so glad Wong was here, and of course Daredevil is kind of the what people were waiting for. That they knew he was coming from the trailer and all that stuff. And when Feige called Charlie Cox to be like, hey, we would like you to come back and be Daredevil if you'd be interested, and he said, like, we want you back for Spider-Man and She-Hulk. Like, that was the combo. So they knew for a long time that this is where they were going with this character, even before Born Again was on the table. Like,
gotcha.
Which is cool. You watched Daredevil on Netflix, right? Yes. So this is a much lighter hearted Daredevil than we get on screen. To me, this feels like Matt Murdock, like as much as the other one does, because I'm a big fan of Daredevil, and when Matt doesn't have the weight of the world on his shoulders, he's great. And I just really like both versions of him.
I do really like both versions. I really like the tone here more. Like I liked this for him more.
It makes you feel like he actually is victorious at the end of his 3 seasons,
right?
Like where he like really came out clean on the other side or something like that. Because like it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna flat out say it, but like those seasons happened. So let's just in whatever detail maybe they happened or didn't, in broadest strokes. So. I just think it was great, and I love the original colors too, which was hilarious because I think it actually kind of worked on screen. I didn't expect it to, and they kind of make fun of him, like it's bold to make condiments your color choice. Yeah, I
am not as much a fan of that look, but that has nothing to do with the
I prefer the red, truthfully, but. It does differentiate him emotionally from the other one, right? Like they're as far away as you can get from black ski mask or black handkerchief over your eyes, blood on your fists kind of Daredevil. And like when he like jumps down like the thing and he's like twisting all around, and I'm like, this is what I was waiting for. Yeah, like
I loved that they found a way to get him in the hallway, having a hallway fight.
That was awesome. It was great. That's the meta commentary that I love, Yes. And so, just straight out. But I also like that they're pretty much 2 distinct superhero styles. It's either going through the wall or going like, what are you going to spend a half an hour taking out dudes to get to the same effect? I just like both of that.
Are they goons or henchmen?
Oh, goons don't have loyalty. Henchmen believe in the cause, which is a great, just like even commentary like that is like he's been doing it for a while, right? To even have a distinction, to know that. I just truthfully, I really like them as an item. Like it's not where I thought it was going to. Yeah, it wasn't really where I thought it was going to go at all. But like, it is a workplace comedy, and romance I think is usually kind of the trope of that storytelling style. And they really work for me, like a lot. Yeah. Even on like the bare minimum of like he doesn't care what she looks like either way because he's blind.
Sure.
Like there's even something really, nice about that. It's just
that's true.
Who she is, right?
That's true. I would love her to pop up in his show.
Me too. Actually, I really loved that bit in I loved that bit in the final episode where he was like, okay, Kevin's like, I'll see you in the movies. Really? No. Oh. Like, when are we getting the X-Men?
Yeah, I love that. And she looks at the camera like,
hey, gotcha.
I got your back.
Yeah.
I'm here to smash.
I smash. So, like,
smash.
I'm here to smash bad finales and sometimes Matt Murdock. Like, yeah, this is really great. I just, I had a big smile on my face, like, for them because, like, you're already, if you watch the Netflix show, you're already emotionally invested in the happiness of Matt Murdock. And so then you're invested in the happiness of Jennifer Walters. So then you're just like, oh, they found each other. This is lovely. Yeah. Keep it going. Like you said, I would love for her to be back for this. I did see a thing, some interview, it might have been Feige, that said like She-Hulk's a mainstay. You're going to see her a lot.
Cool.
So, which I'm down for because I'm a big fan. So,
I'm sure we're getting a season 2.
I hope so. You know, but the thing is with Marvel TV, they're not super interested in the seasons. They're like interested in like, okay, we told this story in long form, and then you'll see the character next at a next event. Because at this point, they pretty much guarantee that if you're into Marvel, you're just going to watch the next piece of Marvel entertainment. So now they're telling one long story, like semi-cohesively. So like, I want to say like, think of like Doctor Strange is a great example of that. You get him in Doctor Strange and he appears a lot before you get to his own personal sequel.
That's right.
But it's still his growth as a character in other things. And so I hope we get a She-Hulk season 2 because
how about Bruce Banner? Like since his movie, right? The Ed Norton movie, like he hasn't had his own movie since then.
No.
In 20 years.
That's it. I mean, right. That's more of a universal rights thing, but
it is. But we've seen the Ruffalo Hulk through lots and lots of movies. You know, we've seen his story take its twists and turns through the Avengers and Thor Ragnarok and Endgame and everything else. Like we've seen it go through all these transformations, and now
Wanda's
another
one.
Here.
Yeah, and Wanda's another one, right? You know, where
Wanda's another one, exactly.
She didn't get anything until her show. And then, you know, Vision, same way. So, but anyway, you're right with Ruffalo, who I thought was, I think, at his best here. Because I don't love Smart Hulk. It's not my favorite. I like less than intelligent Hulk and the rage against the monster, the Frankenstein's monster, the werewolf, like that. You know, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like I prefer that version than the combined version of them. But whatever. Like I'm over it. You know, I've seen a lot of that version already. So I'm just as happy to watch something new. And Mark Ruffalo is just wonderfully charming as Bruce and Hulk, I think. Role. And Scar did not look good, I will say, as a negative on the show. He looked so weird.
That was a weird look, but they'll fix that, right? Like, I mean, that's just the first appearance. But it is like it makes a bad first impression.
The way that that whole thing was filmed, you could tell he wasn't there. You know, like, and so, like, maybe it was a last-minute addition and a reshoot and a, you know, whatever. But, like, it was just whatever. I did get a little jolly with, like, that's kind of the first time that Daredevil meets the Hulk, right? Because, like, she's like, oh, it's my cousin. He's like, oh, like,
that's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I did kind of like that. That was fun for me. But yeah, I just, it pretty much confirms, a Planet Hulk movie. And,
I was going to say, is it World War Hulk, Planet Hulk? Like...
Yeah, well, World War Hulk is when he comes back, when he's like, you sent me to this planet, and I'm real mad about it. And so I don't think they're going to go in that direction.
Okay,
but but I, there were hints of Planet Hulk during Thor Ragnarok. And so to really give like a whole story to something like that, I would like to see that. Planet Hulk is a good story. So
that could be a really great series. That could be a film.
Yeah.
I feel like they would probably do that as a series.
I think it's funny. I think film because, one, there's the expense of you know, that, you know, like that's a lot of CG characters, backgrounds, like all that stuff. It's just a lot of computer generated effects for TV. And there's a couple open slots in the Marvel lineup where they like all the way up to 2026, 27, whatever. I think it's 27 now. Maybe, no, I think it's 26 now because they bumped a bunch of movies back. So like Secret Wars isn't coming out until 26, which is not as far away as people think it is. Right.
Yeah, true.
4 years is not a terribly long time. I mean, I'll be almost 40, but still, it's not a terribly long time. It's fine. Don't worry about it, Frank. It's fine. Any final thoughts on She-Hulk?
It was very enjoyable. The more I think about it, having seen the whole thing, the more I liked it. I'm very glad I stuck with it, because if I had quit after like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe I would not have enjoyed it as thoroughly as I did by sticking it out to the end and like you know, seeing where they were going with it. So I'm really glad that I did. Tatiana Maslany is fantastic. Although I thought her as She-Hulk, the CG was not where I wanted it to be.
Oh, really? I thought it looked great. And there were very seldom moments where I was like, that's all right. But
I thought it looked okay. I thought that I feel like it's not going to age well. I feel like in not very long, it's not going to be very long before you're like, the lip sync is all off and it doesn't look.
Yeah, but that's probably true. But you know what? I feel that way about almost all CG. So like,
I do, but I felt that way. I saw more of the seams, if you will.
Yeah, I think I would say that's a constant right now in the MCU, but it's pretty common.
We're in that phase right now of like CG is like really, really good, but it's evolving so quickly that it's only going to be in a year or two. You'll look back and it won't be that. It won't be
part of that. I think that's part of the major output that they're putting on special effects companies to create this stuff, how much they're negotiating to pay for it, the timeline to which companies have to render everything, like, and I just don't think that we're getting as top quality product as we would if Marvel was still in the like 2, maybe 3 products a year, and that's all you're getting.
I see. Yeah.
There's always something churning. So
yeah.
You know what? But that's okay. It's fine.
That's okay.
The story is there, and the acting was there, and I think that's the most.
The story was there. The acting was fantastic. It was. It's a yes from me, Bob.
Very good, and to me too, Frank. Where can the people find us?
You can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. You can find us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio if you want to support us. And you can find us and the rest of our network of shows at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. Of course, if you want to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Google or Amazon Music or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, rate, review, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. That would mean so much to us and help us so much in getting discovered and helping new people find Beer with Geeks. So please do all of those things.
Well, thanks, Frank. Thanks for saying all that, and thanks for being here as always. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.